This footage was released by the Russian Ministry of Defense. It shows the TOS-1A Solntsepyok in use. The location is Zaporizhzhia Oblast. The claim is simple. A Ukrainian position was destroyed. Not much detail, not much explanation, but that's where it becomes interesting. Because in conflicts like this, what looks simple is usually not. In this video, we break it down. What happened, why this system was used, and what it actually means on the ground. The TOS-1A is not a typical artillery system. It's not a Grad, not a HIMARS. It's highly specialized. Its purpose is clear: destroy fortified positions, bunkers, trenches, structures. It uses thermobaric munitions. The process happens in two stages. First, fuel is dispersed into the air. Then, it's ignited. The result is not just an explosion, it's pressure and heat combined. Pressure pushes into enclosed spaces. Heat fills the volume. In open areas, it's powerful. In confined spaces, it becomes significantly more effective. That's why bunkers are key targets. This is not about wide area coverage. It's about concentrated impact. From a military design perspective, this is notable. Russia is not always focused on precision in the Western sense, but it emphasizes effect, simple effect, immediate result. The TOS-1A fits that pattern, not advanced in digital terms, but still relevant in the right conditions. So why Zaporizhzhia Oblast? Because this front is relatively stable. Not much large-scale movement, but constant pressure. In this kind of environment, warfare changes. It's no longer about speed, it's about endurance. Who can hold longer? Who can break fixed positions? That's where systems like the TOS-1A come in, because the targets are not moving, they're static, and static targets are easier to calculate. The region also has extensive defensive structures, long trench lines, bunkers, semi-permanent positions. This creates the right conditions. So the use of this system here is not random, it's a logical choice. Now let's look at the message. First, capability. Russia is showing that it still has effective tools, not just in quantity, but in purpose. And in this context, that holds. The TOS-1A is designed for exactly this scenario. Second, psychological pressure. This part is often underestimated. This system doesn't just destroy positions, it changes how safe those positions feel. If a bunker is no longer safe, then confidence drops, and that affects decisions on the ground. Third, domestic audience. Visuals like this matter. A long war requires visible results. Proof that operations are ongoing. Proof that something is being achieved. This kind of footage provides that. Fourth, external signaling. The message is indirect, but clear. Russia still has a range of options, and it is willing to use them. This is not escalation, but it shows capacity. From the side of the armed forces of Ukraine, the response is measured. No immediate confirmation, no detailed rebuttal. There's a reason for that. Narrative is part of the war. Confirming too quickly can reinforce the opponent's message. Denying without evidence can backfire. So the approach is different. Focus on the bigger picture. That defensive lines are still holding, that systems like this are not decisive, and there's logic behind that. The TOS-1A has limitations. Its range is relatively short. It has to operate close to the front line, and that creates risk, because at that distance Ukrainian drones are active, which means the system itself becomes a target, not just an attacker, but something that can be hunted. At the same time, Ukraine has adapted. Less static positioning, more movement, more dispersion. The goal is simple: reduce the effectiveness of systems like this. Tactically, the impact is real. If the system hits the right target, the effect is immediate. Positions can be destroyed quickly. In a localized context, that matters. But there are limits: short range, high exposure, situational effectiveness. It cannot be used everywhere, and it cannot define the battlefield alone. On the Ukrainian side, the response is adaptation. Defensive methods are evolving. Less reliance on fixed bunkers. More flexible positioning. Movement becomes protection. Over time, this reduces the overall impact, not because the system is weak, but because the environment changes. At this point, two layers become clear: effectiveness and perception. The effectiveness is there, no question. In the right conditions, it delivers. But the scale is limited. It does not change the direction of the war. What grows larger is perception. The visuals, the explosions, the narrative, they create an impression of dominance. But on the ground, the situation is more balanced. Both sides adapt, both sides learn, and both sides adjust continuously. What we see in Zaporizhzhia Oblast is not a decisive moment, but it is a useful case. It shows a pattern: Russia applying targeted force, Ukraine responding with adaptation, and the conflict continues between those two dynamics. If you come across footage like this, look beyond the surface, not just the explosion, but the context behind it. If you find this kind of analysis useful, consider supporting the channel. Subscribe, like, and share. It helps keep this kind of discussion going. And one final note: this content is for analysis and informational purposes only. It does not support or promote any side in the conflict. All observations are based on open source information and balanced interpretation.